Good morning everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now yesterday something really exciting happened, something that will actually change the entirety of flipping in Oldschool Runescape. I don't say that very often because the Grand Exchange and stuff like that doesn't really get updated very much per se. But yesterday the OSRS wiki announced that they'd be partnering with runelite to provide up-to-date GE information that would be pulled from the runelite client. Now we're going to get into this a bit more in depth in a minute here, but today I'm just going to be giving you my opinion on it, as I've been getting a lot of questions about it. No, I don't think this is the end of flipping. Yes, I'm actually kind of excited to have more accurate data, and I'm going to explain why. Now to start off here, let's give a little context to the entire situation. Now one of the bigger issues that affects the Grand Exchange, and has been true ever since its creation, is that Jagex does not publish up-to-date trading information. Sure, you'll be able to look at the amount traded and the price on a daily level, but that's not super useful for those actually looking to discover prices, flip, merch, whatever. So when the Grand Exchange first came out, that was the only information that was available. However, soon after, third-party clients started tracking the trades within the client itself, and then sending that information to their own market tracking website. Now for a long time, OSBuddy was the most popular client and the most popular market tracking app, and eventually they made their API public, which means all of the third-party websites like GE Tracker, Platinum Tokens, Alchemate, and any other thing like that is based on the OSBuddy API. Now that was fine when OSBuddy was popular, but nowadays everyone plays on runelite, and as runelite has become more popular, conversely OSBuddy has become much less popular. The problem is that the only trades that are being tracked are those using the OSBuddy client, and if OSBuddy is way less popular and only a fraction of people are using it, the information becomes much less accurate and gets out of date much quicker. So unfortunately, that was just a slowly declining reality. The best publicly available trading information just kept getting more and more inaccurate. Pretty much OSBuddy has been on a slow decline, and so is the accuracy of a lot of this information. Not to say that it's still not useful, but you're not going to be getting the most accurate information, and unfortunately it was just the best that we had. That was of course until yesterday that runelite announced that they would indeed start tracking market data from anyone who uses the runelite client. Now I believe if you have the Grand Exchange plugin turned on, you are automatically opted in to have your data tracked, which I think for the majority of players is totally fine. Although if you for some reason don't want it, I think you can just turn off the Grand Exchange plugin, although you're going to lose quite a bit of functionality. Oh wow, I just went and looked at the OSBuddy website. There's only 4,000 people on that client right now versus runelite that has 56,000. Now that is an absolutely massive difference. Over 10 times more people are using runelite, which means we're gonna have over 10 times the trading information that we had previously. So right now, all of the information is publicly available from the wiki API, which means anyone is free to use it. Now for the average flipper, all you can really do right now is go to the wiki, go down to the pricing information and click on view real-time prices. That will give you a very up-to-date buy and sell price. Now one question I get a lot is, how do websites like the OSRS wiki or GE Tracker know what a buy price is and what a sell price is? Now in the case of the wiki, it works on what is the most recent instant buy transaction or sell transaction. So if I go to the Grand Exchange and try to buy the Ancestral Robe Top, I jack it up to 100 mil, hit enter, and instantly buy something. That will count as a buy offer, even though with every transaction somebody is selling and somebody is buying. And of course the opposite will be true for sell offers. However, as of right now, the API is very new, which means any of the actual third-party websites are still in the process of updating it. Hopefully, I would imagine. It'd be very silly not to. So pretty much immediately I got a lot of questions regarding how this is going to affect flipping. Is this going to kill my margins, stuff like that? And before I answer any of that, we definitely have to take a big picture look at this. Having more accurate information is just better for everyone. Even if it did impact merchers or flippers, overall for the game's health, it's just way better. Giving accurate information to people for really any aspect of life, I think is just a good decision. On a RuneScape level, there's just so many reasons that it will help out people. I mean, right off the bat, just preventing scamming will be a pretty big benefit in my eyes. One of the more popular GE scams is to have a really obscure item that has a really out-of-date price to it. They'll start yelling at the GE that they are buying this item for an inflated price, and then some noob comes along and thinks that they can make a killing by buying the item for cheaper on the Grand Exchange. They go and buy it, and then all of a sudden they've just been scammed by buying a highly inflated item that's not worth that much, and then the scammer never buys it from them. So this will definitely help with that. Now in the end, will this affect flipping? Well, yeah, probably. And will the margins get smaller? It is possible. With much more accurate information out there, people will be able to pretty quickly know the margin more accurately. which means it definitely is possible that margins will get smaller, undercutting will become more prevalent, and things will become harder, but not to such a degree that I think flipping is dead by any means. I think it still will be extremely profitable, but you may have to change your strategy a bit. Keep in mind here that we're more so just jumping back to what it was like a couple years ago before runelite. Sure, the player counts are a bit higher, but the majority of the market share was using OS Buddy, which means the information was extremely accurate, and we still may do then. There are still thousands of potential items to flip, which means you will always be able to find something. Well, to get into the specifics of how I think it is going to affect flipping, well, here are my thoughts. Well, the first thing we have to keep in mind here is that even though we are getting way more accurate information, it's still on a 5-minute timer. It's only going to update the pricing information every 5 minutes, which means for the most part, high volume flips are going to be pretty much unaffected. And high volume items cover a lot. I mean, that goes from anything from just high volume PVM items to resource items. All of those items are going to be mostly unaffected, and to be fair, they're already highly competitive anyways. And that seems pretty clear to me that the items that are going to be affected the most are going to be the low volume items. And to be fair, that does cover a wide variety of flips. For example, there are going to be a ton of items kind of in the middle. For example, ornament kits, clue scroll items, lesser used PVM items, stuff like that. Pretty often you can find 200 to 300k margins on items like that. I do expect that will probably change, and I'm really interested to see how that affects like the high-end rare market. Items like Third Age Druidic, Third Age Axis, stuff like that, things that are just so infrequently traded, having that information be a lot more accessible will probably change the market quite a bit. I would actually predict that the high-end players probably are going to either turn off market tracking when they're flipping those items, or just God forbid use the default client, or I suppose the Steam client, because for the ultra high-end items, revealing your margins is actually kind of a big deal. So based on that assumption, while it is going to be affected, I do expect those people to just work around it. So in my opinion, the items that are going to be affected the most are just going to be somewhere in the middle. Slower items valued somewhere between 5 and 100 mil, where it's not really worth your time to take precautionary measures and just use a different client, but having the pricing information being a lot more accurate will actually impact it fairly substantially. That would be my prediction anyway. So anyway guys, I'm very curious to see how this will affect the market. I'm excited to have more accurate information. Maybe going forward we may have to change our strategy a bit, but it's going to be fun to learn, and maybe we'll make a video on it in the future. Now before I go here, I'm going to go give a massive thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. A huge thanks to Timothy Chen, Cappy, Guy Fox, Valhalla Lad, Brian Robinson, Brad Sings, Ocelot, and Kush Patel for all subscribing at the Dragon tier membership. You guys are awesome, thank you. Also thanks to All Things Gaming, Birdbot, Base Titch, and Red Kamikaze for subscribing at the runelite tier. As always, if you guys are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is an awesome way to do so. You can become immortalized in my videos, get access to a video release schedule, as well as get a custom role in my Discord server. Anyway guys, thanks again, and I'll see you next time.